wonder where snow comes from. Standing on end? And we all lived happily ever after. Come back again sometime, yeah?